Now we have the session Change Wardrobe, Change Lives by Dr. Sharmila Nagraj Nandula. Dr. Sharmila is an academician, an entrepreneur, and a weaver who has 30 years of experience working with students of design, industry, grassroots technologies, weavers, and artisans. She is the founder of Comedy Studio and the former director of Voxen School of Arts and Design, who created and built the academic legacy in Telangana. She was an associate professor with NIFT Hyderabad for a decade, and for the last 30 years, Dr. Sharmila has relentlessly focused on bringing due recognition to handlooms, khadi, indigenous crafts, and design. Her work with artisans and weavers stems from the deeply rooted personal connection with the handmade arts and crafts of India. She has been speaking in various seminars, forums, academic circles, and at societal level to embrace handmade for the pure goodness of handmade textiles and the value it brings to the lives of lakhs of artisans which the country has. Through her design studio, she has promoted simple, classic, pure, and highly customized to the world. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharmila, for joining us today. Over to you for your session. Change wardrobe, change lives.
Thank you so much, Aparna, for that wonderful introduction. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. And it's a wonderful session indeed, and a lot of points that I have covered and which can, kind of wrap up my topic also of change wardrobe, change lives. With Abir talking about, textile being the highest pollutant, and of course, the fast fashion is not helping the scenario at all. And Dr. Pramod's organic farming. When we talk about organic farming, I think handloom, I work in handloom and khadi. So I think the SDG12 of responsible consumption and production just fits in so beautifully in the production aspect of handloom, because it's the industry which uses the least technology in terms of, it doesn't consume much electricity, it doesn't consume a lot of chemicals. If it is done in the true spirit of handloom and khadi, it is, I think, fitting in the best possible way in production. And of course, consumption, we need to really, kind of drive it in certain way to the consumers, so that, the entire philosophy of responsible consumption and production sits in place. So when Dr. Pramod was talking about organic farming, I think we have been the most sustainable country in the world, I think last 40-50 years ago. But today we are the, again, highest consumers, and we have become very materialistic. And when we talk about handloom and khadi, we were using, the very, very sustainable ways of natural dyeing and, biofarming. And our farmers always used natural pesticides and fertilizers, and it just fitted in very beautifully in the entire life cycle of farming, and then weaving, and then consumption and all that. And one of the very great aspects of handloom, which uses natural dyes, is all plant extracts, and it doesn't really add any pollutants to the ground soil or the water, if done the way it is to be done. I think that needs to come back in a big way right now. And of course, Patrick's clean environment and clean energy is, fitting in again in this handloom perfectly, because handloom doesn't really pollute the environment, and it doesn't it really doesn't need great energy requirements. And it was basically, if we talk about what exactly can handlooms bring into this pattern of production and consumption. Yeah. So if you look at the map of handlooms, Aparna, if you can just share the link of map of handlooms, because this is very tiny here. If you look at the entire country, there was special textiles that was made for that kind of environment, that kind of weather, and there was not much moving of textiles from top to bottom, because the entire country had different weather pattern. So if you're talking about Kashmir, they were making pashmina shawls because it was too cold, and if you talk about the south, it is tropical, humid, and very hot, so cottons were flourishing. So the entire country had a pattern of production and consumption, and that has sadly kind of gone. Recently, about 3 years ago, the Victoria and Albert Museum celebrated the sari, and the sari is basically one of those brilliant garments of the country where it fits. It's kind of one size fits all, and then the consumption pattern is like very very small there, where the mother of the house gets a few saris, and it gets handed down to the daughters and then their daughters. So it's the most sustainable pattern that we used to follow. And I have a very interesting story from like maybe about 40 years ago, where the village head's wife would kind of give her wedding sari to every bride that gets married in the village. So there was no need for a bride to kind of go and buy a new sari, and it was supposed to be auspicious, and it was supposed to bring in good energy and all that stuff. So from there to where we are now, over consuming, and the fast fashion, and absolutely reckless no recycling, what you call responsibility, and we are not reusing, we are consuming constantly, and then filling up our landfills. um, I actually have a small video here, but I won't be able to play because of time constraints. I would request all of you to, take time to look at this, as to how beautifully our fabrics were made and then handed down, over, ages. And also there was a pattern of making the fabrics. The princely had a different kind of fabric, and the workforce had a different kind of fabric, and the quality of it, or the age of it, and the kind of time frame each fabric would go, and it had a story, and it would just be going from one generation to another and celebrated. Right now it is a product, it is consumed and thrown, it doesn't have a story. But when you embrace handloom, when you talk about khadi, where did khadi come from? Khadi is the freedom fabric. We got freedom out of that fabric. Gandhiji used a fiber and salt to get us freedom, right? So from there to now, a country which has become so consumer consuming oriented. And if we can really bring the handlooms into consumption part, and in a larger scale of understanding, and in a larger scale of consumption, I think there would be greater sustainable patterns. So if you look at our textiles, especially the handlooms, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, and then from Gujarat to West Bengal, they're so unique and exclusive, and they come out of highly skilled and talented hands. And today, a lot of them are lost, and some can be restored, revived, and retained. That's also my tagline of my studio. We try to restore and revive and retain whatever we can, and we are trying to bring in a lot of youngsters back into the weaving career options, and trying to tell them that this is the and also I think the pandemic has helped the entire understanding very well, because they are back home with their parents, and in the rural environment. And it's so beautiful that they now started understanding that work from home was always there with the weaver. We are talking about work from home now, but our weavers and our potters and our artisans are always working from home. And it was such a beautiful arrangement, it was such a beautiful way of working. The entire family is around, and I think that was the most sustainable way of living. And Hussein was talking about the circular economy, and I think our villages had that completely in place. And I think maybe with what we call development and technology and all that, we have really kind of it has fallen apart. So we will just go through two simple things in this presentation. One is a simple survey. I will walk through your understanding as to how people are understanding handloom, sustainable textiles, sustainable clothing. It's a real-time scenario of consumption and possibilities around sustainable clothing. And my own research about handloom and the effect of conscious connective processes in the supply chain of handlooms and apparel in India. So there was a small survey that was conducted. I have about 1,000 responses, and this comes out of that. So 89% of people say that they know Khadi. Let's just be with me. This is a small story, and you will understand. When we understand so many things, why are we not embracing it? Okay, so 89% of them say that they know Khadi, and 94% say that they know about handloom. And if you see this, when you look at clothing, people are talking about comfort. Can you look at the left side of the slide? It is comfort, 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 comfort. Maybe comfort purely, but comfort with sustainable factor is the second one. So if you see that, people are understanding clothing in terms of comfort, right? And about, if you add it up, it is about 50% of the people are saying we look at clothing for comfort factor. And look at this. So when I ask them, do you have natural fibers in your wardrobe? 20 less than 25% has, 21% have less than 25% of natural fibers. Now, when they talk about comfort, and they are not having, natural fibers in their wardrobe. So there is this mismatch. Why is that mismatch happening? Because natural fibers are not available, or they don't understand. They understand Khadi, they can understand handloom, they understand that comfort is the highest thing which they're looking for. But then there is no natural fibers in their wardrobe. Why? Right? And then and then we ask them, do you have other kind of clothing, Khadi? And that is, if you see that 47% of them don't have Khadi in their wardrobe. That's a huge possibility to enter. So Khadi has a tremendous possibility to enter people's wardrobes, because they are looking at comfort, they are looking at something which is natural. So Khadi can enter. Again, handloom can also enter. 50% of them don't have handloom in their wardrobe. Handloom can enter. And then and they are saying that if you bring Khadi and handloom from the authentic sources, they are ready to buy, right? So there is no business that is promoting Khadi that can enter people's wardrobe. We need to look at it. So there is a possibility, there's a huge possibility of Khadi and one moment. So there was one more slide where, yeah, this one. And I'm asking them, would you pledge, 25% of your clothing budget to Khadi and handloom? They're saying yes. So what we understand right now here is there is a need for natural fiber, there is a need for handloom, there is a need for Khadi. So when you are talking about natural fibers, you are directly impacting the farmer as well. So there is a farmer, there is a weaver, and what else would you require for a beautiful circular economy, right? And you have natural fibers being grown, and you have handloom weavers weaving it, and you have more than 50% of the people are saying that we will embrace Khadi and handloom if you give us from the authentic sources. So I think there is a huge possibility that we can cut the supply chain of clothing and bring clothing from our weavers to the homes of consumers. And my next insight is my research. Now, why handloom and Khadi? Why am I always talking about, I have made this change wardrobe and change lives as a mission. So why am I talking about handloom and Khadi? My research says that any product that is consciously made, that comes out of weavers and artisans and all that, brings in a certain amount of good intent into the product. So my research used an equipment called GDV, which is a non-invasive technology. It was the first time that textile analysis was done through this machine, and it kind of gave some brilliant insights. Now this is the 35th year of me wearing Handloom. So I knew the goodness of Handloom, and I wanted to quantify it. And through my research and data points, I have brought in this analysis saying that if you wear Handloom and Khadi, your energy fields get enhanced. It is so this is a non-invasive technology which uses biometrics. It takes the fingerprint readings and it calculates. It has an algorithm, a powerful algorithm. Some of you might have some of you might have experienced Kirlian photography, if there are any photographers in the audience. So this algorithm puts in the entire energy field. So this is my analysis from the GDV, and this was just a regular screenshot. But if you're talking about my research, I have done pre and post organic cotton. So my research used organic cotton, natural dyes made on Handloom, and also I had used a unique technique called horoscope weaving. So if you see here, before the organic cotton was used and after organic cotton used, there is enhancement in the energy field of the person who is wearing the Handloom. Here you don't see much of a difference, but see here. So this is how it is, a normal clothing versus the organic core clothing which was made on Handloom. You can see the entire energy field really enhanced. And this was for a woman, and this was for a man. So again, here I'm saying that there is a physiological benefit, physical benefit, and an emotional benefit as well. So here, if you see for a woman's what you call energy field, you see that the emotional and physical both got enhanced. Women have a very different way of connecting with clothing. So we are very much involved. We invest a lot in clothing. It should bring us a certain kind of emotional contentment. But as far as men are concerned, they are kind of very straight and very up. Very particular about only a few kinds of clothing, and they know what they want, and they are very clear about it. So the emotional aspect, if you see here, is not that much, it doesn't show that enhanced, but physical, yes. And again, if you see here, there was another person whose emotional and physical energy field also got enhanced. So my point of giving the analysis is that there is a good intent, there is energy. A weaver, an artisan, doesn't really go to his machine, whether it is a loom or his own apparatus. It just doesn't happen randomly. There is a method, there is a ritual. And if you look at these handloom weavers and artisans, you go to the villages, they do things in a certain way. And if you look at their housing, if you look at their workshops, I think they consume the least. Their equipment is made of wood. It ages with them. I heard a very beautiful story of a Veena player. She said that, when they start playing an instrument, and she was saying about the Veena, like maybe when they're 4, 5, 6, you get a Veena, and the Veena is bigger than actually the person. But she said that as you grow old, the Veena is aging with you. So the same thing happens with our artisan. They start weaving when they are like about 10, 12 years of age, and as they grow old, the loom is also getting old with them. And it's a beautiful process. And the noise of the loom is is the perfect herds for a newborn, or a perfect herds for a pregnant woman. It does not create any undue noises. It is a music to the ear. And all the processes that happen around the weaving activity is done by the family. So there is a courtyard, and there people sit. And then if a friend comes, they will sit there. If a visitor comes, they will sit there, and they're sitting on the floor. The most beautiful way to be sitting on the floor and doing an activity, eating on the floor, and all activities are happening on the floor. And then you have no challenges of ergonomics going out of the window. And the loom is made in such a beautiful way that it just takes care of all the ergonomical requirement. So there is a huge scope. There is a huge scope when we change our consumption patterns. You understand what you need, and then you bring that need into your wardrobe. Wants and desires have made the world what it is today. So if we address the need, and if we know what exactly our skin is asking us, and I think the natural fiber is the best candy that can happen to our skin. So we can change just simply by changing maybe 25% of our wardrobe. We are going to change lives. We are going to change our own lives, and we are going to change the lives of a lot of textile artisans. So, and I think we just can simply contribute to the sustainable consumption and production patterns. So I think everybody needs to have a mission of their own when it comes to consumption of clothing. So you can ask those 5 Ws and 1 H, and we can be part. We can be part of the slow movement. We can be part of a vegan movement. We can be part of a vegetarian movement. But then we are following. But then if we have our own mission, okay, I'm going to ask, where is my fabric being made? How is it being made? So if we have these basic, I recommend that we tell our kids, we go and have campaigns with school children, college children, where we are saying that what is your consumption pattern? Just not the clothing. It could be food, it could be the products that they are using. So can we ask those few questions, and that becomes our mission to live sustainably and be very, very conscious about our environment, and what exactly can we contribute to global well-being. So if we can take this forward, it's kind of of the people, by the people, and for the people, and it's a people's movement. It's consumption is people's movement. Production, of course, is the artisans movement. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sharmila. That was an amazing and eye-opening session. Thank you for explaining the importance of natural fibers, and it was amazing to know that our energy fields also get enhanced when we use handlooms. Thank you so much for joining us today and inspiring us. Keep doing the amazing work.
Thank you so much.